scheduled at this time at this place. Please call the roll.
Dan Durham.
Here.
Don Walker.
Here.
Tony Cook.
Here.
Wayne Danaskis here. Tony Kirby.
Here.
Quorum is present.
Thank you. Next, we have our meeting minutes from the February 10th meeting to look at, and if there are any concerns by the board, now's the time. If not, we'll accept the motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we accept the minutes as written.
Motion on the floor with support. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Hearing none, minutes are accepted. Next, we have agenda review and approval for tonight's business. We have two cases. It looks like we have two applicants. Any concerns or questions before we start by the board? If not, motion be in order.
Mr. Chair, I move that we accept the agenda as presented.
Thank you, and I'll support. We have a motion with support. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, we're good to go. First case, AB 2025-04, Orion Township Public Library Parking Lot Project at 825 Joslin Road, Sidwell 09-452-020. Petitioner is seeking one variance from zoning ordinance 78, Article 27, Section 27.04, 3C. The variance is to allow a development without curb and gutter in a parking lot. Primary spokesperson, identify yourself, please, and tell us what you'd like to do.
Hi, Chase McMunn from the Orion Township Public Library at 825 Joslin Road, Lake Orion, 48362. We were at the Planning Commission to seek removal of planned curbing on the west and north sides of the parking lot. This would mirror what we currently have existing in our parking lot with a sheet flow drain to that north side with swales that carry the water over to the retention area. And so that's what we're seeking to do.
Mr. Chair, before we go further, this is my usual asking if the board thinks there's a conflict of interest, because as we've done 3 or 4 times on this project already, I am the president of the Friends, the fundraising, or fundraising, one of those words. I'm not too good with words. For the library, I don't feel I have any conflict of interest. I am not employed by the library. We just have meetings and have book sales to raise money. But if you feel that is a conflict, I would be happy to recuse myself.
No problem.
No problem.
Board members?
No.
We have unanimous opinion of the remaining board members that no conflict of interest exists, but thank you for bringing it up. Question for you. I was all down in there the other day looking around. Now you talk about water sheeting off to the north. That's where that line of pines is down there?
That's correct, yeah.
Your swales are where exactly?
They're just on the side before the pines. There's a ditch, for lack of a better word, that then it drains off to the east side of the lot where the retention area is.
Are you adding any spaces for this project?
Parking spaces?
Are you adding any parking?
We are, yes.
Can you tell me where on the site that is? I think I know by looking at plans, but
Yeah, the current plan, I don't know if you have a way, I have it plugged in, but it's not. But there's a rounded area on the northwest side of the lot. It's a curved parking lot right now. And basically what we're doing is making that more of a 45-degree angle so it juts out a little further. That's primarily where the added spaces come from.
and then the remainder of it will just be to strip away the curb and gutter.
Yeah, well, we're redoing the whole lot, so we'll be removing, the plan was previously approved by the Planning Commission last year, and so there'll be a removal of some of the islands, including a large pedestrian island, and just changing flow and adding a drive-through where it connects to the building for book returns.
You got a lot of blacktop there. You would not want to catch that water with no place to go, that's for sure.
Well, the plan currently approved, and I can let the engineer speak to it.
Oh, that's fine.
But the plan currently approved, had used the current draining system that we have, and there were no basins installed in the parking lot at all, sheet drains.
Thank you. Board members.
Mr. Goodlow. is our resident expert in the planning and zoning over there. You're more familiar with this lot than we are. Do you, and with the rains we've had in the last few years and the overflow of water and everything else, does your office have any concerns with the amount of water that will be going into?
No, I was briefed by our engineer on this, and they were okay with it. They would carry it to their proper places, so I have no issue with it.
Thank you.
So, yeah, just from so that I can understand this from an efficiency standpoint, by not having the curbs, how much more efficient is this, one versus the other? Is there a percentage that we're looking at in terms of efficiency?
So, hi, my name's Tyler Drum. I'm with Spalding Decker. We're the engineer on this project. So I can't really give a percent for that. There's not, rather than having just sheet flow, we're trying to have sheet flow, from the parking lot. It all goes to that north area. And if there is curb and gutter there, it's all gonna go through that curb and gutter into one spillway. But if that's the way, then there'll be a big ponding. Like, there'll be, eventually if there's a 100-year storm, there'll be ponding up onto that parking lot area. But now with no curb and gutter there, we'll all just go straight into the proposed drainage area that we have.
Okay, and then from an erosion control standpoint, as you know, water causes that. What are the steps that are put in place for that?
So they're gonna be, when the contractor will go in and put that ditch in there, the little drainage area, they're gonna put the seed and put it down with the blanket that they'll have in there to mulch everything down. So then when the rain comes in, it's just typical grass, it's gonna be draining towards that one spot. There's a low area in our plans, I don't know if you guys saw them, but there's we have a detail for how the water will, seep into the ground, and that's what we want, with more infiltration. So it won't be like a big erosion of a lot of water coming through, rushing through. It's all gonna just seep through the ground.
Was there any consideration to do that, have a more permeable surface, if you will, in the parking lot?
Oh, you mean like a porous pavement?
Yes, sir.
So that's typically not, well, so porous pavement is good. We typically use that on the west side of the state, but what we notice is that a lot of times those pores get clogged in the pavement. So that's kind of one of the civil engineering, it's a good thing for the future, but we can't kind of get that, I guess, that problem of when they get clogged. It's a tough process because then you're not as permeable as you were at one point. And then you have to come through and clean it every so often, and it's just not as efficient as it looks in the beginning.
Okay, thank you.
Do we have anybody in the gallery that came to speak to this matter tonight? Come on, excuse me, come on up to the mic, introduce yourself, and let us know what's on your mind, please.
Hi, my name's Scott Krieger. I live on Newman Road. That's right behind there. How do I know that that watershed, that Newman Road's already a low area, isn't gonna go into that lake on Newman, Square Lake? Yes, it's all the houses behind or north of that. That's already a hill that goes down. We have a flood problem on the street. How do I know all that water's not gonna go into that lake?
So based on the engineering calculations from a 100-year storm, which is what everything is based on when you do the calculations, we made that pond where it'll be, so here's the parking lot, it'll be draining into that pond, and there's also a higher point on your side of the lot where it'll be keeping from going into there.
Can you get closer to the mic, please?
Yes, sorry. Do you need me to repeat, or?
Go ahead, repeat.
Okay. So basically, the parking lot, well, when we designed these ponds, we designed it for the 100-year storm. So when I designed that pond, I made it deep enough and short enough, or deep enough and long enough so that it will hold the entire storm. And then the high point is on that north side, so that I know that when it does hit that 100-year storm, the flow will start going east to our other drainage basin that's further to the east. And then from there, we'll go, we designed it for the 100-year storm, so there's not gonna be anything higher than that. So we do have everything calculated and covered on our plans. But then if it does, it'll go to the east and drain the natural way it does towards that low point on the east side of the property of the library. So there's a high point on north that there wasn't existing. So we're basically giving it a spot to go, and if it doesn't, if there's more rain than there should be, it'll go even further east.
Let me interrupt you for 1 second. Mr. Goodlow, I heard you say that the township engineering consultants have been over these plans?
Yeah.
And they've,
There's approval letter in the file documents.
So it's been back-checked. First of all, sir, all I can tell you is it's been back-checked by the township already. I don't know this gentleman's firm. I'm sure they're top drawer. But when something like this comes in, it gets run past the experts that the township also employs to have two looks at it. So that has happened in this case, and they are fine with it. That's pretty much all I can tell you.
I'm just worried about oils and car contaminants making its way to that lake.
I saw that specifically in this information earlier.
I think on that point of what you just mentioned, either, like, because this meeting obviously here today is for the curb, and either way, if there is the car contaminants that's with the curb or not there, that's not gonna change. So that's kind of something that the engineer, like you said, would see, that would already been picked up. But because we don't have a curb there, it's all gonna go into the grass and infiltrate down through, down as typical, rain gardens do. They get all the pollutants out, and the water will be clean from there.
Thank you.
But I do appreciate you coming up, because then I will make sure I'll look at the plans, double check that we have a high point, make sure everything's good on your end.
It's up to you, but maybe leave the gentleman with one of your business cards.
Does he have his hand up?
Do we have anybody else who would like to speak to this tonight?
My name is Jim Phillips. I live at 124 Highland. I am also a library trustee. One point that has not come up is that entire parking lot, if you stand up by the entry door of the building and you look out across the pavement, the entire parking lot is sloped to the north and to the east. The entire north edge of the parking lot, there is a swale there. It's a shallow ditch and then a rise that would keep any water from flowing north towards Newman Road. It doesn't go anywhere near the water can't get over that rise unless you had, well, 3 feet of water. The other thing is, on the original installation of the parking lot, that entire north edge of the parking lot, from where it curves towards the driveway, all the way down to the northeast corner of the parking lot, the entire length. In that swale, there's field drain. Okay. Plastic field drain. So the water comes over, gets into that shallow ditch, percolates down into black field drain, perforated field drain. And that runs the entire length of the parking lot to a small catch basin at the northeast corner of the parking lot. From there, there's another set of pipes that go out of that small catch basin into the sedimentation pond, which is at the east end of the parking lot. And that's a deep pond. There's a catch basin down at the bottom. And if we ever get that much water, that will fill up and flow over into the mucks area. People look at it, they say it's a wetland. It's not. It's technically, I think it's called Midland mucks. There is no inlet to that water, to that wet area. There is no outlet from that water area. All that whole wet area is just natural drainage from high ground surrounding the wet area.
Let me ask you a question that may seem silly, but I was there. About 5 years back, we had a 10-inch rain in one day. 24 was a river. The middle was a river. It was one piece of water from one side all the way across the other.
Yep.
So we had 10 inches of rain. If you know, what was the response of the water in that area then?
That was the only time I ever saw standing water in the bottom of that east sedimentation area. And it came up, it was above the catch basin. It has a beehive cover. It was above the beehive cover a little bit, but it never came up any higher than that. And if you stand in that sedimentation pond area and you try and look up to the library, the pavement at the library, at the service door, for example, is probably 8 feet higher than the bottom of that pond. So the grade drops off pretty quickly there.
Why I brought that up is if it could survive that rain.
Oh,
I've never seen anything like it before or since, so might be that with the engineering that's been done, you'd be good to go.
yeah, the Clinton Valley Water Authority, I think, or Clinton River, they approved the original design, and I've been involved with the library since 2004 as a trustee, and before that, just as a patron. I've never seen any ponding or anything anywhere near the, on the parking lot or on the grounds, other than those two retention areas. And like I said, when you get 10 inches of rain, we had a little bit of water there, but it was probably a good 6 or 8 feet below the level of the parking lot was where it topped out.
Thank you.
Yeah, so the sedimentation pond, as a part of the new construction, well, first off, will that be cleaned, if you will, as a part of the new construction, or is it at a point where you're comfortable with the amount of sediment that's currently there?
Oh, the one that's currently in there, it'll be cleaned out. We're actually gonna be, so the current plans that are from whenever, I forgot, the last parking lot project was done, we're gonna actually be digging out a little more to add more volume. So we have both the north volume basin and then also the east one that's existing. They're both gonna be larger.
I do have a letter that we received regarding this matter, and it's not too long. I'm going to go ahead and read it into the record so that the sender can verify that it was actually seen and understood. It is from a Lauren Comey, K-O-M-E, at, well, it's up there someplace. It came in as an email, I guess. We've got, good afternoon. I've lived in Lake Orion on Newman Road for the last 6 years, and one of the many reasons I bought a house here is because of the country feel and the wildlife. The other was because the taxes were a lot lower than surrounding cities like Rochester. That is no longer the case, as you are frivolously spending our tax money on unneeded things like a bigger parking lot. I do not want cars in my backyard until all hours of the night doing donuts in the parking lot. It happens in the library lot now. I don't want the poor deer and wildlife to have nowhere to go. What is wrong with the parking lot now? I feel lied to. I was told that last year's rezoning was to repave the current parking lot. I specifically asked if they were trying to expand. I was told no. I think there are much better things to spend our tax dollars on, or how about you lower our taxes for once? Everyone could use a break. We need to stop this frivolous spending. There is absolutely nothing wrong with the parking lot the way it is. Why must you guys allow every bit of land to be built up on in Lake Orion? Also, not to mention, you are going to lower the value of my house with this ugly, noisy parking lot, but you won't lower my taxes. And then it is signed by a Lauren Bennett. So that's that. That's the only incoming that we got that I see. And there are some folks, if you mention change in a crowded room, the collective blood pressure will go up 10 points. So a lot of times change is automatically not a good thing. Sir, do you have another one? Normally it's one bite, but we've got a limited crowd tonight. Come on up and then reintroduce yourself.
Scott Krieger, Newman Road.
Yes, sir.
I'm just worried, I don't know what this parking lot's supposed to look like. I was told that it was gonna be going back behind my house. And I have not yet seen what this thing is gonna look like. Is it just going to redo what they already have? Or is it gonna go all the way back over by Pollyant Trail?
I would suggest, and I hate.
That's why I'm here now. I wanted to see what the plans were for it.
Okay. We can't do this at the mic this way. These gentlemen, I believe, will work with you and show you what you need to know. They're both nodding their heads right now. This gentleman here with the engineering firm has allowed that perhaps he would give you one of his business cards for you to take away so you'd have a point of contact. Let me ask you the same question I asked the other gentleman when he was up there. Do you remember the 10-inch rain?
Very, very little. I don't remember it, no.
Okay, never mind then. I just wondering what kind of water you had that day.
I'm the highest point, so I didn't have any problem.
Okay. Mr. Kirby,
Question for the engineer or the library guys.
please.
The existing parking lot, how much are you adding to it in square footage?
Well, that we do not have on the plan right here, but I have that on the plan set, the overall that we submitted to the planning commission. I don't have that with me right now. I mean, we do have the
Ballpark,
plans.
I'm not gonna hold you to it, just ballpark. Are you tripling the size of it?
Oh, no, not at all. So, I don't, probably like, if percent-wise? Yeah, like 20% I'd say.
Okay.
It's not much, honestly.
No, that's, you understand why I asked the question.
And it's on the face that goes towards Joslin, correct?
Yep, the west side.
Okay.
We're not, the east side's not moving at all.
Okay, that was my main concern. That's the reason why I moved in here 35 years ago, was because of the back.
Gotcha.
That's why I wanted to get clarification on that.
Okay. Sir, take this gentleman's card in case something comes to you later. It's a willingness to work with folks makes this easier. Board members, do we have anything else for these folks? We're kind of hit neutral.
And neutral.
Ms. Walker? Stand for motion.
No.
We're in the midst of crafting a motion. I don't know what type of motion yet, but it's being crafted. Is there anything that you would like to tell us that we don't know? I noticed you had a lot of surface cracking back there. I mean, it's an old piece of pavement, and it's good that you're gonna get it up out of there and get a new piece down.
Yeah, the parking lot's original to the building, so it was built in 1986, about 40 years old. They did geological study on it, and it is in definite need of replacement, not just repair at this point.
Okay.
And the library did not raise any taxes to pay for the parking lot. We used money that was saved up over the course of many years, knowing that a parking lot replacement would be needed.
That facility, at least in my opinion, does a very good job of finding money and earning their own money through sales of things. They tend to, at least, again, from my perspective, try to keep the burden off the taxpayer as much as they can. And it's a really seriously hard-working library. In the days of your e-readers and everything being online, it's nice to see.
I would agree with you, Mr. Chairman. I'd say that they're probably one of the most physically responsible branches that we have.
Thank you.
Cook.
Prepared to make a motion. In the matter of ZBA case AB 2025-04, Orion Township Public Library Lot Project, address 825 Jocelyn, Sidwell 0909452-020. I move the petitioner's request for one variance from zoning ordinance 78, article, do the math here real quick, 27, section 27.04, 3C. Number one, a variance to allow a development without a curb and gutter in a parking lot be granted for the plans date stamped, received January 23rd, because the petitioner did demonstrate the following standards of variance have been met in this case, in which they set forth facts which show the case. Number one, the petitioner does show the following practical difficulty. That is that in this particular case, you have a unique situation where, because of the piece of property in the direction of the water with the on-site sediment and retention ponds, in addition to the other things that are happening in the township, which is number one, an increased patronage of the library along with the increased population of the township, has caused a need for additional parking. The following are exceptional or extraordinary circumstances or conditions applicable to the property involved that do not generally apply to other properties in the same district or zone. Again, the unique thing in terms of developing or allowing this to move forward without curb and gutter in the parking lot is because this is a system that is, in essence, has a 3X or multiple methodologies that are backing up the drainage of the water. Number one is the the swells that are there. Number 2 is the sediment pond. Then there's a northern retention pond along with a tertiary or a pond to the east for water retention. In addition, it does make it more efficient and allows additional parking spaces to address, again, the population and patronage of the library. The variance is necessary for the preservation and enjoyment of a substantial property right posed by other property in the same vicinity or zone, or a smaller variance would be insufficient. Again, this has been reviewed by OHM, the township's contracted engineer, also the township's engineers, as well as the Clinton River Valley Authority, and they are in support of the plan that has been developed. The granting of the variance or modification would not be materially detrimental to the public welfare or injurious to the property or improvements in such zone or district in which the property is located. And again, this has been addressed that the calculations were all done based upon a 100-year flood, and some discussion has taken place earlier which would support that. The variance is not self-created, nor, okay, yeah, the variance, yeah, that's it.
Support.
Motion on the floor by Mr. Cook with support by Mrs. Danaskis. Anything further by the board? Seeing none, please call the roll.
Diane Danaskas, yes. Tony Cook?
Yes.
Don Walker?
Yes.
Tony Kirby?
Yes.
Dan Durham?
Yes. Request passes. You're all set.
Thank you.
All right.
Next, we have AB 2025-05, Brenda Anghaben / Tacos El Guro Food Truck Temporary Use Permit for an open-air business at 545 South Broadway Street, Sidwell 09-11-427-016 and 09-11-427-017, parking lot of Jacobson's Florist. Per zoning ordinance 78, Article 30, Section 30.11F, the petitioner is requesting a temporary use permit for an open-air business to operate a food truck from March 1st, 2025 to 20th of December 2025 at the above location. And we have an incoming letter from the petitioner, says, "To whom it may concern, I'm writing these lines to give my permission for my son, Jorge Gatea, I'm going to try it, to attend the meeting on Monday on my behalf. I'm not going to be able to attend. He is very capable to speak on my behalf, and he works with me in this project." Please introduce yourself.
Jorge Gaeta, Broadway Street for the Taco del Güero. So yeah, we just wanted to basically have this permit for us, just to have us working for, you know, the summer months for Lake Orion. We ran it probably for around 2 years. So we felt like we've had a pretty good impact on the community. We have a lot of returning customers, you know, a lot of people, like returning faces.
What happened? You've been, I passed it, I've never been to your business, but I passed it many, many times, and you were always there doing your thing? And
Yes, sir.
now you have to move?
Yes, so Lake Orion, the township has decided to not have any more food trucks, but where Jacobson's is at, we are like split from actual Lake Orion and Orion Township.
Okay, let me make sure we're clear. Orion Village is the one that put a rule in?
Yes.
Because you're in Orion Township now? That's okay. It gets confusing sometimes. They're kind of the hole in our donut. Board members?
Mr. Chair?
Ms. Cook?
So just a couple things, because you're first. We don't have any other food trucks at all, to my knowledge. And so you've been operating in the village, and so I just had a couple questions. So with a food truck, you know, you kind of stand out. So where you were kind of, I remember you being there, but how do you plan on blending in now? because you're gonna be on the opposite side of the parking lot?
So essentially, I don't know the whole details of where they're gonna eventually set up, but from my understanding of it, they're gonna be like right on the border of it and have the window facing the north side. So then we would have like a different, like a whole set, like a parking lot for people just to come in, so it wouldn't affect the flow of traffic from the other side.
So it would be closer to the greenhouses?
No, it'd be like, like, it'd be essentially where we were at, just more farther down. Like closer to like the parking lot area.
And are you the gravel part of the?
Yep, like a little bit further past it.
Mr. Chairman? My understanding, and I have, just for open, I have eaten at your establishment. You guys, as a food truck, you do have to pass public health and safety, correct?
Yes, of course.
What was your last score on the public health and safety, if you don't mind me asking?
I unfortunately do not know, but I do know that in the coming month, we are having an inspection for the fire department, just to have all our systems and stuff inspected. And we are up to date for all our current health department appointments.
So obviously, you've passed them because you're still in business.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Mr. Chair? Two questions. Have you ever been closed down for health purposes?
No.
Thank you. And you have I assume you have a contract with the owners of the property, with Jacobson's
To operate there, yes.
There was a letter in our information from Harold Jacobson saying he was good to go. How are you gonna power that?
So we have a generator that connects with the actual trailer.
What are your hours of operation?
Hours of operation, we usually start out around 10 to 11, and we end off the night around 8 to 9.
So, okay, so that's being open continuously then?
Yep.
And is that 7 days a week, 6 days, 5 days? What is it?
We do 6 days.
Monday to Saturday, or is it Tuesday to Sunday?
Yep, Monday to Saturday.
Is it a fair statement that if Orion Village hadn't manipulated their ordinances and added some, you wouldn't be here?
Yeah, possibility.
Okay. So it's nothing about the property, it's nothing about the location where you were that made you had to move because there was mud there or a problem, you had to move because there was a rule change in another municipality?
Yep, just because of different implications that we had to end up leaving.
Thank you.
I'm good, Mr. Chairman. I'm ready to make a motion if there are no other questions.
I did have another question. I do. So you talked about a generator. Tell me, what do you do for generators make noise. Talk to me about, is it baffled, is it muffled,
It's it's a lot more muffled than a regular generator that a lot of people would use. It's 1,000 watt, so it runs a little bit more smoothly, and it makes it very, very easy to hear, like customers and stuff, and especially when I have it pretty close by. So it's not a noise issue.
Mr. Chairman, in addressing that one, I could say that I've been standing there ordering and also carrying on a conversation with other people in front, and the generator has not been overbearing.
Do you guys do any local hiring at all?
Yes, we've been contracted to do events all over Michigan. We've been up all the way to like Ann Arbor, Birmingham, different parts of Lake Orion, Orion Township. So we travel. We have another truck that usually travels around different areas, but this one mainly stays where it's at.
Okay, so do you hire any local labor at all?
Mainly it's just family right now.
Family? Okay.
Yep.
You store fuel on site for that generator?
If we do, it's mainly inside like the back of the pickup truck that we have it in, and it's just like a gallon of gas.
What do you do about removal of your garbage?
We have our own, spot, like, site that we go and, dispose of our trash and garbage or anything of that sort, or waste.
Sanitary facilities.
Yep.
That doesn't tell me anything.
Oh, like we have our own, so a kitchen that we operate out of, and essentially that's where we dispose of all our waste.
I was thinking more of restrooms.
Oh, restrooms. Oh, sorry about that.
That's okay.
No, we have actually no public restrooms or anything of that sort. So, when we would go use the bathroom, we would essentially just go down the street to like the McDonald's or anything like that, just something close by.
Thank you.
Final question. So typically there, from a sustainability standpoint, is there a plan or have you considered evolving this into a brick and mortar at some point?
There's nothing out of the question as of right now, but we, haven't thought that far so far. Right now, we're still kind of just trying to like, kind of keep the, business moving, grow it as it is right now, and then maybe hopefully in the future, think of having like an actual brick and mortar.
In Lake Orion?
In Lake Orion, yeah. I mean, that would be honestly a great opportunity, but that's not in the question right now.
All right, good deal.
Anything additional by the board? Mr. Daskis? No. You're good? You say you were thinking of a motion, Mr. Kirby?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I'm ready to make a motion.
Please.
Is this the format I'm supposed to use on this one? It says sample motion for this type of thing, so I'm going to use this one. In the matter of AB-2025-05, how do you pronounce your mother's last name?
I'm Gavin.
Brenda and Gavin? Tacos El Guerrero, food truck temporary use permit for open air business to be located at 545 South Broadway, Sidwell number 09-11-427-016 and 427-017. The petitioner's request for temporary use permit from zoning ordinance number 78, Article 30, Section 30.11, F1B, to run an open-air business from food truck be granted. The petitioner would be using this property for a permanent purpose and has demonstrated that they will be compliant with the required conditions for an open-air business. Conditions of approval are as follows. There will be no similar open-air business within 1 mile. There are none. The petitioner will provide a phone number to the building department of a contact person that can be reached anytime, day or night. The hours of operation will be March 1st to December 20th, 2025. Are those correct, sir?
Yes.
The petitioner will provide the township with a current copy of their liability insurance listing Orion Township as an additional insurer. The petitioner will provide a certificate that the food truck has passed Orion Township Fire Department inspection prior to opening. The petitioner must provide a $1,000 cash bond for a reinspection of the site once the operation has been removed. The petitioner will provide barricades within 5 feet clearance for pedestrian safety. Approval for plans date stamped received January 29, 2025 and February 12, 2025.
I'll support if we add in the days of operation are Monday through Saturday from 10 a.m. till 8 p.m. Is that correct?
Yep.
And I have one, I'm not sure if I heard it incorrectly or not. I thought I heard property used for permanent purpose, but maybe you did say permitted and I heard it wrong.
Permitted purposes.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry,
I heard it.
I will
No, I
clarify
thought I
that.
heard it wrong.
I will agree to the Monday through Saturday from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m.
We have a motion on the floor by Mr. Kirby, second by Mr. Cook with additions. Do we have anything from the rest of the board? Seeing none, please call the roll.
Tony Cook,
Yes.
John Walker,
No.
Tony Kirby,
Yes.
Diane Danastis, yes. Dan Durham,
No. Your motion passes. You will get your permit. You're good to go.
Thank you so much.
Very welcome.
Have a great night.
Next is public comments. We're out of public. Communication, education, zoning, a really important memo from the office telling us that our next meeting is canceled for lack of agenda items, and that is the meeting March 10th. So that one won't be necessary. Committee reports, anything? Any member comments? Anything?
No library comments? We didn't get enough library tonight.
And that took about 12 times longer than I thought it was gonna take already. I don't want to even mention
Those
the
are the ones that we can postpone them to? Yeah, they've already done it. Okay. Yeah, it's, okay, we got nothing going on. We'll accept the meeting, or a motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn, sir.
Support, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? We're done.